Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rock Squad podcast, your destination for the latest in rock music news, reviews, and discussion. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Nick Chino. I'm joined by my co-host and bandmate, it's Dave Marini. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Nick, how's it going? Hey, everybody. Before we get started today, as usual, drop down to the bottom of this video if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button to our channel, hit the like button on the video, and add any comments you would like us to see on the bottom of the page. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. Nick, my friend, how are you doing?
Doing all right, man. Actually, up on the channel, there's also a new rock album review for the new Manic Street Preachers album, the Ultra Vivid Lament, which is a great record. I don't know if you've heard it, but the Manic Street Preachers, they put together a really lush record. Like, there's a lot of really cool songs on it, a lot of cool sounds, a lot of cool textures. So highly recommended. You can check that out on the Rock Album channel or the Rock Squad channel right now. And Dave, I got some CDs. I know I'm not cool like everybody and getting vinyl. I do have vinyl, but I got some CDs. Do you want to see the pickups that I got?
Yeah, what'd you get?
Well, the first one, I don't know, we might have done this on the show already, but whatever, we'll do it again. Mammoth WVH.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Did we do this on the show already? With these
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe we did.
Mammoth WVH. Wolfgang Van Halen, great record, one of my favorites of the year so far. Third Eye Blind,
cool.
Thanks for Everything, which is their covers EP that they put out a little while ago. Coming up next week on the channel, we'll have a rock albums ranked for Third Eye Blind, and we'll also be reviewing the new album, Our Band Apart. But Dave, this one's pretty exciting as well, and that would be the new album from Mags.
Oh, cool.
Say Things That Matter. Already one of my favorite records of the year. I know you're really into it as well.
Man,
this album's incredible. It's an indie rock masterpiece as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, man, it's really cool. It's I've been telling people it's like somewhere between like Pet Sounds and like Pinkerton or something.
Yeah.
Like it's like a weird. It's awesome. I'm down with it. I like the vibe of it.
Yeah, really cool. I bought it off his Bandcamp. I want to get the vinyl too, but it was pretty pricey to get the vinyl, so I stuck with the CD. I know I'm kind of in the minority of people who buy music when somebody still buys CDs, but the majority of my music collection is on compact disc. I do have a little small vinyl collection, but the majority of it is on CDs. So CD is still my thing, and probably in 20 years' time, everybody will be nostalgic for CDs and be like, "Oh, I gotta get it on CD."
Hey man, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I still watch 99% of my movies on Laserdisc.
Oh yeah.
So
totally.
I only have 3 movies. It's RoboCop 1, Rambo First Blood, and Amadeus.
Oh, all great choices.
That's all I have on the Laserdisc, but I watch them religiously.
Yeah.
So I feel you with the compact disc, bro.
Yeah. My favorite part of Amadeus is when they throw Mozart into the grave at the end of the movie. Sad. Yeah. We watched that in school. I remember we watched that in high school. It was funny. Yeah. All right. Let's get to this week's Rock Squad podcast. We're going to kick things off with some opening act topics, which are some hot rock music news topics that are happening right now. And the first one is that Stone Temple Pilots and Bush have canceled their North American tour. They pulled out of this co-headlining tour due to COVID-19 related circumstances. STP is going to continue on their own headlining tour throughout the U.S. this fall. The canceled dates include stops in Arizona, Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, and more. Dave, I don't really know what's going on right now. I know in some places the pandemic's getting better. In some places it's not as good. It's getting worse. Some bands are on tour. Some bands are canceling their tours. It's hard really to get a read on whether the concert industry is making a comeback. You think about other bands that just did their tours, like Weezer and Fall Out Boy and Green Day did their Hella Mega tour. There was some COVID stuff that went on, but they managed to complete that tour. Other bands are on tour. So why is it that bands like STP and Bush are canceling their shows? What's going on here?
Nick, it's pandemic pandemonium. That's what it is. No, man, of course, like the Hella Mega tour or whatever, that obviously that went off without a hitch. Lollapalooza went off, no issues.
Tons of festivals happening in the UK.
You know what it is? It's like the waves themselves in this COVID crisis. You gotta go with the waves. I think You're going to see spots where you luck out and everything's fine. And then as numbers change, it's going to affect it. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, is that through the last couple months, we were at, everybody started getting vaccinated. We saw numbers dropping, and we opened up a little bit, and there's more contact. People are out. There's a variant. So as long as our threshold for vaccinations isn't at the level where it's eradicated, I'm not sure. This might be a thing for a while until we can get it under control.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it was Jonathan Davis of Korn got COVID-19. They had to cancel some dates, and then he was performing from a chair because he couldn't really perform up to his usual standards because of COVID. So I guess it is a case by case basis, depending on the band and depending on the tour and depending on where they're going. And this will probably, everybody's saying this is still going to be a trend for a while to come. I know we want to say, oh, today is the end of the pandemic. That is it, everybody. It's officially over. Nobody's sick. It's like, I don't think it's going to happen like that. And like you're saying, things are going in waves, and hopefully more people do get vaccinated. But in the meantime, there are going to be those ebbs and flows with the concert industry. Some shows are going to go on, some shows are going to get canceled. I'm on YouTube watching performances from UK festivals that are happening, like Reading and Leeds, and the Transmit Festival that happened in Scotland. I'm watching videos of bands performing. So, and this is the giant crowds, no social distancing, no masks, no anything. Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, that feels normal. All these people are going back to shows. Everybody seems to be okay. It's not like there's large outbreaks that are happening. So it is so confusing right now. There's shows happening in our neck of the woods here in Southern Ontario and Canada. There's shows happening everywhere. So it's just really hard to get a read on exactly what's happening when there's these huge shows happening overseas. There's been huge shows happening here as well. Like you were saying, Lollapalooza down in Chicago. So I guess it is just a case by case basis.
Yeah, I think, and like for the touring bands, it's just going to be like, you have there's even bands up here. I think like Tokyo Police Club just canceled a bunch of stuff. There's been some Canadian bands that aren't able to. I think the Dirty Nail maybe canceled some things.
Well, we talked about the Saints and Sinners tour, like the one with the Tea Party and Headstones.
Oh, that too. Yeah, man. Like, yeah, lots of things like kind of riding it out and then being like, oh, it's not going to work. And then all of a sudden in 2 weeks, we're going to have a festival in our hometown. The Festival of Friends is returning.
Right.
Outside 5 stages or something. So I'm not sure how that's gonna play out. I don't know what the attendance is going to be like, if people are comfortable going to something like that. I'm not sure. It's see, this is the thing too, a free festival where there's no screening.
Right.
And when you're paying to go to Lollapalooza, everyone's showing a vaccination card. Everyone's, proving that they don't have whatever the criteria is. But when you have a free festival in the park and it's just a bunch of people showing up, no screen, no rules really. I don't know how people feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that yet. Yeah. So it's trying, as a musician, it's a very trying time. Even just thinking about going back into clubs is like, it feels like it's never going to happen. So I don't know, man. I really hope it figures itself out. But
yeah, it's hard to think about what shows would be like. And we really want to get back to playing in clubs, and lots of people have already done it, especially where we are. There's people already playing shows again in bars and doing things on patios as well. It feels a little bit strange to be going back to it, but hopefully we can. And there are rules changing in Ontario here where we live. So on September 22nd, they are getting into the vaccine passport thing. So you can't get into indoor concert venues without a vaccination record. We're not going to get into the politics of that whole situation. I agree with it. I'm not disagreeing with it at all. I think this is the best thing that we can do, but we don't want to get into a debate with people who don't agree with that. But hopefully that will lead to more normalcy. I don't really feel keen on going to an outdoor festival right now either, but that's okay. We can make that choice.
Yeah, man. Totally, 100%. Whatever has to happen, has to happen. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But the sooner we get back to normal, I think, and obviously having we're both vaccinated and we're eager to get back to the way things were.
Yeah.
And to have people not understand that, and like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know where to go with it anymore, man. Yeah. It's like,
we just want to get back to normal. God damn it.
I just need some sanity in this mixed up world.
We need to rock out. I've been watching concerts on YouTube, and I'm like, man, I just miss getting up and playing, and even if it's only to one person, we can reach that one person. We can change their lives with the power of music.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our next opening act topic on this week's Rock Squad podcast, and that is that Eddie Vedder has announced a new solo album called Earthling. The Pearl Jam frontman has announced his new album is going to be released soon. No release date has been confirmed just yet, but this is his second solo outing after 2011's Ukulele Songs. He just released a new song from this record called Long Way and advanced the whole album. I thought the song was pretty cool. I'm more of a fan of Eddie Vedder when he's playing with Pearl Jam, but there's no problems with him going solo and doing a solo thing. I actually didn't really like the last Pearl Jam record very much, Dave. Gigaton, it was called. It kind of came out after a really, really long delay. I think it was 6 or 7 years between that and Lightning Bolt, which was a record before that. But I prefer Eddie Vedder to be with Pearl Jam. I'm excited to check out this new solo album. How about you?
Yeah, man. Eddie Vedder can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's Eddie Vedder. But I do love this song. The single that they just put out is awesome. It has a very Tom Petty vibe to it.
Yeah.
And with no Tom Petty being around, I think it's awesome that he just kind of slides into that pocket. I wasn't a huge fan of Ukulele Songs, but respectable. It was a good showing. But if the rest of the record is any indication of, or if this is any indication of what's to come on the record, that's awesome. Like I'm down. I think it's awesome that he has like kind of a Tom Petty pop rock vibe going on. The last Pearl Jam record, Gigaton, is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
It was not even on my top realm for Pearl Jam, not even close.
Yeah.
But Lightning Bolt was amazing. I really like Lightning Bolt. So
yeah, Lightning Bolt was great.
Yeah, man, let him make some music. I think it's great. I think it's great to have more music from Eddie Vedder.
And I really liked the when he did the Into the Wild soundtrack back in 2007 awesome. When he did Hard Sun, which is funny because that was a cover of an Indio song, and Indio is an artist that came from right here in our hometown of Hamilton, Ontario. So that's a fun little rock and roll fact. But yeah, that was a great record. I actually had never seen Into the Wild, and I watched that movie last year. It was the first time I watched it. It's about the story of Christopher McCandless, who was this guy who was a little bit of a traveler and then passed away and was living in a bus in Alaska. But anyways, but Eddie Vedder's music in that movie was so emotional and so integral to expressing the emotional themes of that movie that I couldn't imagine the movie without it. Eddie Vedder's soundtrack was really such a huge part of that. And so, we're Pearl Jam fans. We appreciate the artistry of Eddie Vedder. Actually, what was it? A couple of weeks ago on YouTube, they posted a show. I forget where it was from. It could have been in Chicago or maybe somewhere like that. But it was a live show that they did where they performed all of No Code. But then on top of No Code, they performed another 2 hours worth of hits. And I watched the show on YouTube, and it was absolutely incredible. And his voice, Eddie Vedder's voice on this show, was awesome. I've never had the pleasure of seeing Pearl Jam live before, so this was really stuff on YouTube, but this was really kind of just a perfect performance to watch of them on YouTube, just firing on all cylinders. And he's playing for 3 hours or whatever. He's singing for 3 hours. At the end of the show, he's still hitting all the notes. He's covered in sweat, but he's just cruising along, getting all the notes, still singing at the top of his lungs, emotional and just incredible. So Eddie Vedder, really, you can't go wrong with this guy. He's a true original.
Yeah, man. Their live shows are great. I've seen them about, I think, 4 times, and they're always awesome. His voice is so strong. The band's awesome. Like their fans are fanatical, so it's like, it's awesome. They're so good. Pearl Jam's awesome.
and when they put together a show, it's always really cool. They always change things up. They did the bootleg series for a lot of years where they're putting out all their live shows, and they know how to really mine their catalog for great set lists. They play their hits, but then they really dig deep into the B-sides and the unreleased stuff and some of the rarities. So Pearl Jam's amazing. Eddie Vedder, very much looking forward to this new solo album. We don't know when it's coming out, but it's called Earthling. There's a new song out called Long Way right now, so you can check that out, and we're looking forward to the new record from Eddie Vedder. But let's get to the next opening act topic on this week's Rock Squad podcast, and that is Billy Talent have released a new song with Rivers Cuomo of Weezer, the Canadian rockers from around here in our neck of the woods. They're from Toronto. They've announced their new album, Crisis of Faith, is being released on January 21st, 2022. It's going to include the previously released singles Forgiveness 1 and 2 and Reckless Paradise. And they just released this new single called End of Me with Rivers Cuomo, which is a great track. What do you think of this song, Dave?
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, it's a great song. Such a Rivers song. At least
a lot poppier than Billy Talent. You know?
Yeah, it's a step outside the box of like what we've been fed from Billy Talent for the last little bit. Mm-hmm. It's great, man. It's a really great song, and Rivers' verse is good. It has tons of Weezer vibe to it and Rivers vibe to it. It's exciting to see bands from our neck of the woods work with, I'm sure, people that they look up to too. You know what I mean? Like we're all kind of in the same age bracket, so it's awesome to just see people in our world mixed with people from our childhood. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Rivers is always doing collaborations with different people. You know, that's that song he did with AWOL Nation that you were telling us about. Pacific Coast Highway in the movies, and then he's done all sorts of things. He's done things with like Best Coast and other bands like that, and he's just always collaborating with different people. So that's really, really, really cool. And with Billy Talent, they're probably one of the best Canadian rock exports. I know like them and Danko Jones are really big in Europe, and they play a lot of those big festivals over there. And they really earned their place in Canadian rock, history over the last, I guess, 2 decades or so. They're coming up on 20 years of being, or probably over 20 years of being a band, or almost 20 years since the release of the first record. When it comes to just solid straight ahead rock bands, they're really great. I had a chance to interview Ben from Billy Talent when I was working at the station here in Hamilton. And I was actually really surprised to learn that it's actually Ian Dessau, the guitar player, who writes most of the melodies and the lyrics for Billy Talent as well. Because I was asking Ben about some of the lyrical content in the songs, and he could speak to a bunch of it, but it was actually Ian who does most of the writing for them. So I found that kind of surprising.
That's a lot like I'm Mother Earth with Christian writing the songs, and you'd expect it to be either Edwin or Brian or Jag. But Christian's the lyricist. So yeah, it's weird when bands have that, where it's the different dynamic. Rush is another band where there's things like that. Billy Talent. Billy Talent's great. Are you a Billy Talent fan? I don't know if we've ever talked about Billy Talent.
Yeah, no, like I'm not a huge fan, but I do like them a lot.
Yeah, I was really into their first record.
Me too.
And Billy Talent 1 and Billy Talent 2 are kind of like where I peaked with Billy Talent, but like obviously they've had so many singles since then. I've always kept up on them. They're like one of the more prominent bands, like you said, over in Europe. It's kind of like them. Like Danko Jones does really well too. Sum 41 is another one of those bands.
Yeah, they do big in the UK.
Big in Europe, man. But yeah, Billy Talent, Rivers Cuomo, I'm down. I dig it. It's a cool song. It's not the straightforward Billy Talent vibe. A little poppier than usual. I'm all for it.
Yeah, totally. Well, the funny thing, you mentioned I'm Mother Earth, and we're talking Billy Talent. I saw it when I was in university my first year, like my first semester, my first year. Went down to one of the local bars. They were doing like an MTV campus invasion tour, and it was I'm Mother Earth as the headliner. And before them, Billy Talent went on, and this was maybe like the year before the record came out.
Oh, cool.
And I had never really heard of them before, but they were awesome. And then I got like a 4-song EP that had 4 of the tracks from the record that were coming out. So when the record came out, I recognized all the songs from when we saw them. But it was, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. The first run-in with them I had was Ben used to be the producer of Strombo's show when he was in Edge 102, when he used to do live in Toronto. And one of the first interviews I ever got to do was with Strombo on the Edge, and Ben was the producer. And I was like 14 years old. That was my very first interview. So yeah, I've been a fan for a long time. It's a cool band, cool song. If you don't know Billy Talent, if you're not from Canada, go check that out. Start with Billy Talent 1, move on to Billy Talent 2, and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely one of Canada's best rock bands. So let's get to this week's headliner topic on this week's Rock Squad podcast, and that is Radiohead have announced a new Kid A / Amnesiac reissue. They're celebrating the 20th anniversary of these back-to-back albums that came out in 2000 and 2001 with a new set called Kid Amnesia. It's going to include the original 2 albums and a third disc called Kid Amnesia, which will feature unreleased songs from the sessions, including the long unreleased song called Follow Me Around, which is a really cool song, and a completely fresh song that nobody's ever heard before, which they just released, which is called If You Say the Word, which was released online. So you know what, Dave, this is kind of bringing back memories for me because I'm a big Radiohead fan. I wouldn't say I'm a big Radiohead fan of anything they've put out in the last decade or so. But when Kid A and Amnesiac came out, I remember we were in high school. I think I was in grade 11, and I went over to Lime Ridge Mall on my lunchtime here in Hamilton. I went and bought Kid A and Amnesiac, and obviously they were a big deal at the time because it was Radiohead's big transition into being a little bit more electronic. It was a very big deal at the time because obviously they were coming off OK Computer and the Bends, which were huge rock albums. The OK Computer maybe less of a huge rock album, but just this giant masterpiece that they'd put out. And Kid A, when it came out, was well received, but also controversial because it was such a left turn for the band. And Amnesiac was very much in the same vein as Kid A because it all came from the same sessions. And I was into it right off the bat. I loved Kid A right from the get-go. I loved all the electronic stuff, songs like Everything in Its Right Place and How to Disappear Completely, the national anthem, Idiotech. There's lots of really great songs on that record. Same with Amnesiac. I love that as well. But for me as a Radiohead fan, I got to say I've really fallen off of them over the last decade or so. I love In Rainbows from 2007. That's probably the last Radiohead record that I really loved. But then The King of Limbs, Moonshaped Pool. To me, Radiohead haven't really moved past Kid A and Amnesiac. As big as those records were, and as much of a change as they were, experimental and such a drastic departure from their previous records. To me, they kind of hit their stride, and they've been doing that for the last 20 years. So as excited as I am for this new reissue, and as much as I love those records, Radiohead has really lost me over the last little while.
Yeah, I think you said it best, man. I kind of fell into the same boat. In Rainbows to me is kind of their last pretty good release.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of after Kid A. Really, like I feel like Kid A, I like that they made that left turn, but I feel like, I don't know. I really liked how Radiohead was originally, and I can appreciate the artistry of moving forward and changing, what you sound like and stuff. But to me, I'm more of, like the Pablo Honey or like the, all those records as opposed to the more electronic ones. But lucky for me, right at the same time that I got out of Radiohead, I got into Muse. Right. And I felt like Muse kind of picked up where if you wanted Radiohead to keep going with the rock, early Muse kind of, especially like Time Is Running Out era, like that.
Well, he's got to say his voice is so much like Tom York's. Like Matt Bellamy and Tom York have very similar voices. Yeah.
Yeah. So lucky for me that my love of that style of rock kept going, and now that's like galactic rock. Who even knows what Muse is anymore? And Radiohead has continued to try to put out these, more controversial, more electronic driven records, which a lot of people enjoy, and I get it. If you're into that type of thing, people are diehard Radiohead fans, and all the power to you. But for me personally, I feel like after Kid A, I wasn't nearly as into the band as I was. In Rainbows, I feel was a pretty strong offering. But since then, I'm with you, buddy. Like, I could skip it, no problems.
Yeah. The thing with Radiohead to me is that, yeah, it was awesome when they went to the more electronic side on Kid A and Amnesiac, and then Hail to the Thief is good too, and Rainbows is good too. But to me, they never evolved past that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They were so known for being this band that was very experimental and always evolving and always changing. But once they hit that mode of being that more electronic driven band, that's really the mode they've stayed in for 20 years. And I always thought that it would have been cool. They don't have to play songs like Creep. It doesn't have to be like Pablo Honey. It doesn't have to be like anything they've done before, but that it would have been cool if they took another left turn and did more of a rock oriented album. There's actually a song on in Rainbows called Body Snatchers, which is this song. It's still electronic, but it's got this kind of distorted guitar riff on it that really makes it cool. And I was really disappointed that they never went more into that direction, that they never tried to do something. They could maybe try to do something a little bit more aggressive. It's they could have done so many things. And I really feel like they've just stalled creatively over the last decade or so. And I know a lot of diehard radio fans would probably kill us for that, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, sometimes when you try to be different, it comes back full circle and you're too different now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I, nothing against them. They make beautiful soundscapes, but I feel like they're a soundscape band now, not a rock singles band, which is fine.
Yeah,
but
and they don't want to be that. They're past
I'm a rock
that.
singles guy. So if you want me to be a diehard and follow you to the edge of the earth, you're gonna have to give me more than what you're giving me.
Yeah, for sure. And I've given the last couple albums, especially King of Limbs and A Moon-Shaped Pool. I've given those records, I've given them chances, and that's the thing. And I mentioned this too on the Manic Street Preachers review that I did, or the rock albums ranked, is that with bands, of when you're a fan of a band over a long time, right, that it depends on where you're at in your life too, right, and where you're at in your musical taste when these records come out. So when Kid A came out, I was at that point in my life where I was really into that. But then when another record comes out, I'm at a point in my life where maybe I'm listening to heavier music, or maybe I'm listening to jazzier music, and I'm just not at that point when that record comes out. It's not intersecting with where you are in your life and where your listening habits are. So maybe that's how it goes. But then you try to listen to something again, try to get a new perspective on it, and it still doesn't do anything for you. Then that's how you know that maybe you're not along for the whole journey with that band.
Yeah, I don't like being challenged with my listening choices. Yeah. I don't like to like, this is gonna sound really dumb of me, but like I don't like to have to think too hard about what I'm liking. You know what I mean?
You don't want to have to search for it, right?
Yeah, I if it hits me, it hits me. And sometimes I feel like I'm the dumb guy at the party with a Radiohead song where I'm like, I guess it's cool, but like, I know their older stuff that I really enjoyed. So that melodic sense that they had in the beginning, I think, is what's missing for me now. And I think it's been getting less and less and less and less. Mm-hmm. And the albums have been becoming more and more and more self-indulgent for them. Yeah. And it's awesome that they've had a fan base for so long that will go along for the ride. As an artist, that's obviously what you want to have. But as a fan of the band early on, it kind of, you kind of have to wrap your head around it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm excited for this reissue. It'll be a Spotify listen for me. I wouldn't be picking up the physical copy or anything like that, but it'll be interesting to listen to that third disc of rarities, or the unreleased tracks from the sessions of stuff that we've never heard. Some of it's just alternate versions, which is not really something that interests me, but there are some legitimately unreleased tracks on this, which I think will be cool. Interesting to listen to these ones. Again, I still love Kid A. I still love Amnesiac. I still love OK Computer, the Bends, Pablo Honey, and Rainbows. There's lots of stuff still to like. It's just maybe not over the last decade or so. And that's okay, because like we said, we want bands to go in their creative direction. I don't think it's right that bands cater to fans. I hate it when fans are like, oh, I wish you sound like Pablo Honey. It's like, it's been it's been 30 years almost, right? It's like move past it. Or with the Chili Peppers, I'm like, why don't you sound like your first album? It's like, that came out a long time ago. It's like, move on. But at the same time, as fans, we have the right to duck out of that journey when it's not doing anything for us.
Yeah, like I said, I like the left turn of Kid A. I think that was a cool thing to do at that time in their career, and I like that record. But that seemed to be like the stance they took with making art moving forward, and I think that's not necessarily what I liked about the band. Like I think if they had a little bit more melodic and less, make you work for the melody. In it, but they're artists and it's art, and people like different shades of gray, so it is what it is. But I am a Radiohead fan. I love them as musicians. I think they're all great players, great songwriters. Just drifted apart, man. Instead of bird free, sometimes it comes back.
Yeah, for sure. That's how life is. It's ebbs and flows. It comes and goes. That's how it is.
It goes. Even flow. Ebb and flow.
All right, well, we're looking forward to that Radiohead reissue of Kid A and Amnesiac coming out very soon. And that is our headlining topic for this week's Rock Squad podcast. We're going to wrap things up. Before we do, we're going to get to our tracks of the week. Dave, my tracks of the week. One of them is by a British musician who I've heard his name for a long time, but I've never really listened until recently, and that's Sam Fender. It's a song called 17 Going Under. Very cool song, very Brit rock. I like that a lot. And a song by State Champs, American pop punk band. The song's called Just Sound. You would really like this song, Dave. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's State Champs, Just Sound. Really cool video for the song too. They do like a little bit of a takeoff on Bob Ross paintings. Cool. So that's really cool. Those are my tracks of the week. How about you?
Well, mine, I'm going to go with the theme that we were talking about earlier with Pearl Jam. And I'm going to actually suggest, we were talking about Pearl Jam live and Pearl Jam doing bootlegs and stuff. And one of my favorite live Pearl Jam things to watch and check out is Pearl Jam live at Madison Square Garden.
I have that DVD.
It's fantastic. So I suggest watching that concert. But at the end of that concert, Ben Harper joins them on stage and they play a Ben Harper song, With My Own Two Hands, in a jam at the end of one of their songs. And there's just something about that show in Madison Square Garden. Eddie's walking around with a bottle of wine, giving people wine in the front row. Yeah. Ben Harper comes in, and there's something about when Ben Harper comes in to when he starts, and Ben Harper is fantastic too, and we're fans of Ben Harper too. But he just owns the stage. So he walks on to Pearl Jam, and Ben Harper just kind of steals the show from Eddie and Pearl Jam at Madison Square Garden. But it's an awesome moment. So that's definitely one of the songs that I'm suggesting. So MSG, Pearl Jam, I think it's 99 or 2000 or something.
Yep.
Ben Harper, My Own Two Hands. And the other song that I want to do is I've been listening to a lot of old Matt Goodband songs, and so I'm going to do Hello Time Bomb by Matt Goodband.
Nice. Yeah, love Matthew Goodband, one of our favorite 90s Canadian rock bands. I love that record, Beautiful Midnight. Amazing.
The whole album's good. Go listen to the whole album. If you don't know who Matt Good is, go listen to the whole Beautiful Midnight album.
Yeah, most definitely. Highly recommended. All right. Well, that is it for our Rock Squad podcast this week. You can follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Rock Squad Pod. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Walking Nick. Where can the folks follow you, Dave?
You can follow me at Red Coast Records on Instagram, on Facebook. You can follow myself and Nick with our band Fools Union, foolsunion.com, Fools Union on Instagram, Fools Union on Facebook. If you want to hear what kind of music we like to play and what songs we write, check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you stream your music. You can get all of our songs, including YouTube, including songs that we are releasing at the end of the month. October 1st, we drop a song called Maniacs. It's coming out. It'll be fully out on the 1st. It's mine and Nick's creation with the help of John Daly and Adam Cannon. We're very excited about it. Recorded by us, mixed by Gavin Brown. We were talking about Billy Talent. Gavin Brown responsible for producing Billy Talent 1 and 2, I believe. So we're excited for that. Nick, my friend, have a good evening.
You too, Dave. And until next time, rock on.
Rock on.
See you guys.